Go ahead and call tonight's meeting to order. Stand and say the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As this agenda, I feel welcome to.
Entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the next agenda.
Been moved by Councilmember Allen, second by Council President Hansen to approve tonight's agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Okay, consent agenda. Do we have any water sewer information requests? Any additions or corrections to the minutes from July 13th?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'm second that.
Okay, it's been moved by Council President Hansen, seconded by Councilmember Moon to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Okay, public comments. We just have Jeff Landon. Jeff, you've got 5 minutes.
Okay. Thank you. Well, as we all know, there's been a lot of talk, a lot of back and forth and opinions shared publicly about things that directly affect our fire department. And therefore, we just kind of felt like that it was time for us to make a statement and be here as a group this evening. And so thank you for letting us be here. And we absolutely understand that everything that's been talked about, is rooted in money for the city and the townships and the people who live in the city and the townships, and that money is tight for cities and townships and the people who live in those places and the fire department as well. But the thing that we remember is that the people that live in the city and in these townships, and these are our friends and family and neighbors and the people that are in this county and in this community. And above all, including the money, we understand that our mission is to provide fire and rescue protection for all of these people that are located in these places, and we take that very, 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 very seriously and understand the importance of the money side of this. But everything that we do is 100% done by volunteers that care very much about the lives and property of the people that we're talking about here in our townships and in our city. And I could go on and probably get pretty emotional talking about the things that I see these guys do and the commitments that they make and the things that they take home with them that a lot of people don't know about, and the maintenance efforts that they make and the fundraising efforts that they all make to maintain our equipment and help fund ourselves as well as the things that the department does that are completely unrelated to fire and rescue. The guys do a tremendous amount around the community. So I just wanted to speak on behalf of the department and take a couple of minutes this evening to let you know that what we're asking for is that the leaders of townships and the city and that everybody has a renewed sense of working together to resolve this and provide the best fire and rescue protection that we can for the city and the townships. And that our commitment will, as it always is, continue to be, to do things in the same manner working together with the leaders of the city and the townships, and the surrounding fire departments. So that's briefly all I wanted to say. I just wanted to say that, we hope that this can all get resolved and we can move forward with a good plan. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to unfinished business. Thank you all for being here, the fire department. We appreciate you and all you do. Okay, agreements between the city of Ellsworth and Ellsworth Fire District Number 2 and Fire District Number 1.
That should be. That's a big plan, okay? Like, Madam Mayor, Council, of course, this was as would be on the agenda, but because the council, after the comment, the last meeting and discussion there, and of course, you know, just Alan's view of things is, when public make comment, don't get a discussion with them. Say, put it on the agenda next time, Alan, that way everybody can carry, we did that here. I look back at, of course, you know, a month ago, the councils, you know, basically agreed with the fire districts. And even though we mention townships all the time, we're not dealing with the townships, we're dealing with the fire districts, the unit of government that funds it, because it's separate funding from the township money. I mean, get confused a little bit here, but it's a little different, maybe, because the fire district is a taxing entity, the townships are taxing entity, and they're not the same. And when they get their tax statements, we look at the country, you get two lines there, and that was part of one of the meetings we had earlier this spring. With some of the fire district people, and I guess there were township people there because their area is part of it, but it's a little different though. In fact, we discovered last week that we have one township in the county we have two towns in the county that are two different fire districts. Just because that's the way it is, and there's no reason why it can't be in the whole bit, but it is that way. Secondly, we went back and looked at business and Louise, particular Blanding, along with her staff, put together, because I think the thing that's come about, and basically the whole idea started, that I was getting to the city staff, but this on the agenda was the contract in place with the Tampa Fire District has been in place this is the 40th year of the contract. There was always a 1-year contract, automatic renewals, unless somebody gave notice 9 days. Unfortunately, the city didn't do it. I mean, and I'll blame the city probably more than anything. It didn't happen. So that's where we got in trouble. But basically the column shows that back, and we couldn't get all the figures of some of our records, we just look at numbers and tax statements and everything else. But basically in 1986, 86 would be the 87 budget, 86 taxes. Township, our fire district 1 had 5 mills for fire. Township, for fire district 2 had 2.3. City wasn't exact, we had total levy. If you move 10 years later, it's 4.15 mils to 1.89, and the net city paid the difference 3.2. As valuation townships have grown, and since this amount of the levy stayed stagnant, or 10,000, 12.5 in its 2 districts, their mill levy went down, and the cities has now skyrocketed to last year being 7.5. I think the year before was probably even higher. Because the last 2 years, the city had to expend more money than you had budgeted to buy more stuff. And as we all know, there's a lot of equipment being bought yet. And so that's where it all came from. So that's what's happened here. I'm going to give you word advice. When the agreement was made in June, or basically the state of the city, I think you can, next year's contract's locked in place at 2 times. It's locked in place because I believe both fire districts did file R&R stuff, and they'll have their hearings sometime after August 20th. I don't know what date yet. They can't make any more money. They can't make any more money for next year. They can't. They have no ability to do that. they'll have to have a hearing to exceed the R&R notice. And my suggestion that night was, as we wait until after they get their budgets approved and then do the contract. Now the question is, do you want to continue with the 5 year, the second, or want to change that? I think that's what's it, but you cannot make next year anymore. I mean, that's, it's unethical because they can't do anything about it. Because you said, we want 3 times next year. They have to say, sorry, we're out. There's nothing they can do about it. So that's the only we can go there. So that's my comments. That's all I have. Over.
I'll keep it short. I
Try
think,
to give you time.
yeah, I think everybody's in agreement, the price has to go up. I think everybody in this room, everybody in this town, everybody in the townships, price has to go up. I think we're down to 2 questions. What's the right answer? How much? The end goal, not the next contract or whatever, but ultimately, where do we need to be and how do we get there? Those are the 2 questions. I think the argument last week, I shouldn't have been getting, we should have put it on the agenda, and I apologize, I shouldn't have gotten in to it last week, is we were arguing about how do we get there, right? I think it's hard to talk about how do we get there when we don't know where we're going, because we don't know what the end goal is, right? So right now, while we try to figure out where the end goal, we just need to get going in the right direction, right? I think that's where we're at. So how do we get going in the right direction? I know there's some people up here have talked about a 5-year contract. There's some people who have concerns about a 5-year contract, and I understand those concerns. So really, I think that's kind of where we're at now. It's how do we get start going in the right direction? Let's get going in that right direction, and then we need to take time to figure out what the ultimate goal is, what the final answer is. Right? So I think the discussion, a month ago, we kind of said, okay, double it for 5 years. But then there were some concerns in the community of some justice. In the community of, well, what about the city? So I think that's where we're at, right? How do we start that right direction? I'm on board with 5 years, and here's the reason why I think it gives us time to compile that answer of the final answer, right? It gives us time to do that research, collect the data, right? I understand there's some concern, well, what if prices go up? And there's some ways we can alleviate that, right? I mean, we have 12, Ralph's probably gonna get upset with me when I say this, but we have 12 roll trucks. God forbid we have one that breaks so bad we have to buy a new one. We just don't for a while, right? Until that becomes part of our calculation, right? There's no reason we have to raise the city taxes because of roll truck growth. We can weather that for a few years if we compile that information, and that becomes part of our data at the end of those 5 years on where the answer really is, what the final answer is. But that's just my opinion. I know there are other opinions, and everybody has a right to voice their opinion here, right?
I still think it needs looked at every year, an annual. That's what it needs to be. We can't lock in that price for that like that. We don't do that on any other thing, so just do it as an annual contract, look at it. And we have our data and we go from there. I think that'd be best for everybody.
So, okay, but
Because I'm not saying it's gonna double every time, and
Right.
it won't, but at least you're getting eyes on the contract.
right. So what
That would be the best way, I think, to do it.
Real quick, but just so these numbers here, basically, the double, which has been talked about for next year, will basically double the amount of
Right.
mill levy in both those fire districts, in fire district 1. In fire district 2, it won't, because you gotta realize for the last 16 years, the county, county clerk, county treasurer, has not calculated the valuation of the complete district.
Right.
Because part of the, so if you look at what's supposed to be this year, it was like 0.8, so they'll go from 0.931 to about 1.6, give or take.
Right. And I'm not saying that double is the final answer.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I think it's probably, I don't think it's gonna be more than that eventually. We just need to figure out whether is it back to 5 mills, is it 4 mills, is it 7 mills, we don't know. Right, or whatever it would be at that point. But I understand being gun shy because it was supposed to have been looked at every year for the last 4 years, it just wasn't, and so. The fear is that if we make it 5 years, we're just gonna kind of forget, and we're gonna be right back where we're at right now. And I get that, I understand that. But I kind of understand the argument the fire districts are making. You know, where they have to be able to budget, they have to be able to figure it out, right? And I mean,
But how's their budget any different than the city's budget?
so, but here's the thing is.
Every year.
is I think part of the discussion, if we're looking at it, is this, what we're charging is part of the fire department's budget. Technically, it's not. The city sets the budget and then they pay us back for a service that we provide, right? It's not their fire department, it's not their equipment. Right, it's the city, so the city sets a budget,
But the
whatever we
city
want
is
to do.
required to maintain the equipment and.
Right, and they need to pay us.
Trucks. And, but when we talk about the budget year issue, that's a recent one, is that you gotta have, you still, I see here, we need there 30 cents a budget year for $150,000, give or take.
Yeah, the buffer gear.
Yeah. I mean, that's the reason why I bring that one up, yeah.
And I get that, and that becomes part of your calculation of what we're gonna
Right.
charge them for a service, right? Again, we can set the budget, I mean, theoretically, we could charge them $100,000, and then we could set the budget for the fire department at $80,000. And the city makes 20, I mean, we would never do that, but you could, right? But I'm saying, we set the budget whatever we want it to be. And that they reimburse us for service, and we need to not look at what they pay us as part of the budget. Right, we set the budget, whatever we want.
But if they don't pay it, the taxpayers, the city pay it.
I get that.
And then that's the concern of the swing from 3 mils in 86.
Because we've set the budget that high, yes, absolutely. So there's two things we could do. They pay us more, or reimburse us, or we just lower the budget, which we don't want
But
to
the
do.
last 2 years, you had to overspend the budget just because of things happening.
And in the year before, you took 50,000 away from the fire department because somebody else was. City
I
decided
know
to
the
do.
city spent 187,000 2 years ago, but in 2025,
Yeah,
24.
the year before that. We had money set aside for bunker gear in a different department that over budget, and they took the money away from the fire.
I still think that has the action expenditure, it might go, you know.
What I'm saying is we set the budget. So what they give us isn't part of the budget. We can set it whatever we want. We provide them a service, they pay us for a service. Right? Now, one of the things that our citizen brought up is the citizens in Ellsworth don't get that guarantee. They don't get a guarantee that the price doesn't go up for 5 years. And I can't promise you that that wouldn't happen, because what if a city truck breaks, right? If a city truck breaks and all of a sudden we have to spend $1 million on a new ladder truck because the one we had gets totaled, I can't guarantee you that that will go up, right? I can't promise that. But when it comes to the rural trucks, what I can say is we don't have to spend the money because it's our budget. That's just what I mean, I get the concerns, but I mean, I don't see. Maybe it's because I'm in the fire department and I see how we manage our money, and we manage our equipment. I don't see a concern where something's going to happen where, oh my God, all of a sudden we have to, next year, we have to double the fire district again. I just don't see a way that could happen.
Mike, I'll give you a couple minutes. What, 3?
Well, the problem is you're looking at the costs wrong and what they can or should be charged. You're not just providing them a service, they are supposed to be paying a percentage of insurance for the vehicles, for the buildings, for the
No, go ahead.
and for workman's comp. They're supposed to be helping with utilities. That's all part of providing the service. And that is in the KSAs, that you can charge them for that. You're not just charging them for when you show up.
Absolutely.
Because it's like an insurance. You're paying for something you hope you never have to use, but you gotta pay it.
And that's true with any business, right?
And like he brought up about the bunker gear. We paid $50,000, we bought $50,000 version, technically, they should be paying for the next 50,000. Because those people are gonna show up. These people are gonna show up for the fire districts, and they're gonna need that gear.
Oh,
And so that's for them too.
no, I get it. So
You can't split it and say, this is just our budget. And we're just charging them for this. No,
you can't, all that is part of what you charge. It's just like any business. It's, you know, a business factors in insurance. And all those things that you just brought up. And here's the thing about volunteer gear. Is if the fire district said, you know what, we are leaving, we still have to buy it from the volunteer gear. We have to, right? Because we still need the protection for the guys. And now, should they still, it's still part of the portion, but absolutely, that's why I'm saying we need time to
but
crunch those numbers.
you don't need 5 years. Math is math. Budgeting is budgeting. It's all numbers. And you can figure out what the costs are supposed to be projected over a certain amount of time. He's done that for over 35 years. He knows how to do that. Other people know how to do that. And then if you're gonna lock in 5 years, you're taking that power away from the next
So
city administrator.
I'm-
And you're crippling that next
And
administrator.
the council members too.
And council members
And the county.
and the city taxpayers.
here's what I'm gonna tell you, is you cannot go crunch those numbers because those numbers weren't kept. So when I deal with the budget at the fire department,
But
we,
now you're dealing with this budget, and according to
now,
your responsibility, and if you read the governing body handbook put out by the Kansas municipalities, it tells you you're supposed to be charging an adequate compensation for those fire protection services, and it's supposed to include all this stuff, and is easy to figure out. There are numbers.
some of the numbers are, some of the numbers, how much gasoline was used on rural
It can
roads?
be estimated based upon the.
You can't, we can't tell, I can tell you that in April of 25, we spent this much money on that, on fuel. I can't tell you how much of it was rural and how much of it was,
There are formulas that CPAs and others use that you can somewhat utilize to figure those things out. But you've got your gas, you know how much gas you use.
in a month.
Right. And you can break that down percentage wise.
But I don't, I can't, I don't remember, like,
You can do it, it can be done. If not you, I'm talking about talk to Angelo, talk to the people that provide our audits every year. They should have formulas, they should have the knowledge to do that. But just saying 5 years, an arbitrary 5 years, no, that's not gonna cut it.
but 1 year is good enough.
And right now, yes, because you're good,
Okay,
You're
Mike,
gonna
you're out
have
of
it-
time. Can you wrap it up?
well, I'm responding, so, yeah. All I'm gonna say is that's not adequate.
We appreciate your opinion and thank you for sharing. And we'll definitely consider, we'll take all factors into consideration when we work on that contract with Fire District 1 and Fire District 2.
Madam Mayor, I would just like to say that I initially, and I believe Madam President brought up the 5-year suggestion, I believe, if I'm incorrect, please correct me. And at that time, I was pro, let's do the 5 years. And in the time since, I've kind of sat back and taken a look at what's been going on for the last 40 years. I know that it's an old record, yet I believe if we continue to procrastinate, to project things out, it's another addition to the 40 years, which makes it 45 years. And so I am thinking, and Tyler mentioned it the first night the issue came up, that a 12-month acceptance of the offer and continue to work the issue from that 12-month perspective would be in order. So I'm just one vote, but I believe a 12-month, take it one step at a time to generate whatever numbers, Russ, that you think need to be generated. It also gives the townships an opportunity to fire districts. Thank you. It gives the fire districts an opportunity to mull over what they believe that they are capable of doing. And what they want to do. It's not a slam against the fire department. It is about budget.
But when the fire districts were here, we also, with them. We kind of all agreed that we were going to do 5 years. They went. Okay, the majority of us thought that was a good idea. So they went to their townships with this, we're going, or their districts, we're gonna go with this 5 year. Is it perfect? No. But we were kind of in agreement, that's what they were going to go back to their fire districts with. So now are we reneging on what they thought we were saying, we thought was a good idea at that point?
I don't, Madam President, I don't see it as a renege. I see it as a recanting, giving additional information to consider. We did not take a vote.
Well, we haven't drawn up a contract either, so I think there's plenty of time if their budget passes, that we can negotiate that back together. Am I wrong, Alan? We haven't voted on a contract.
No, and again, my recommendation and my was, is let's make sure that they get their budget in place. So they could do double, because if they don't come with a true budget, you're stuck with, you're agree with that, or you give you 90-day notice, but it's temper saying, hey, you guys didn't want to come here, we're not gonna do it no more. You can't do more than that. I mean, yes, you can. I'm not gonna tell you what we can do. I have some real ethical issues with it. I would tell you right now, that's dumb, but, you know, that ain't gonna happen. The other years, that's where we have discussion there, you know. You get a 1-year contract, but, you know, because they can't make no more money for next year anymore. Their ability is going, I mean, you know.
This is gonna get a lot easier once we get going. If this is a yearly, this will be simple. Next time it'll be, hey, we've looked at this. Here it is. It's just gonna be a yearly deal. It'll be way easier than what we're dealing with right now, trying to even get where we're at now.
You know,
And that doesn't get forgotten about. Everybody, no matter who's here, they're gonna see it, and you're gonna look and go, okay, that worked great. I think we're right. It looks good. Boom, here it is. Let's sign it. Where you go another year. Things get bad, hey, you know.
there's no need to take action tonight, because I think, you know, said that. But sometime mid-December, we need to sign a contract, and at that time, we'll see their R&R hearings and everything else, and what they've approved in their budgets. And that's next year. The other question is what to do.
Let him finish his comments, please.
The other thing, of course, is, again, the reason why this all came up is that you give tax dollars to the city. And I always tell everybody, says, well, Alan, why do you stand for the city? I don't even live here yet. I plan to live here, of course, as you know, we sit ground probably the next week or two, or 3. But, when I'm hired by the city to do a job, I represent the city of Ellsworth, and that's who I write for today. And I do everything in my power to do what's good for the city and for the taxpayers, everything else, well, I do. And then have my entire career, whatever city I was working in. Bottom line is you haven't, I mean, you know, no need to take action tonight. I think discussion was good, but you need to, you know, I think. Get rid, if you had the idea of reneging next year. That's stupid, okay? The other 5 years, you guys can discuss that, but yeah, because they can't make any more money now. They have no ability to redo the R&R or the hearing. They have no ability because that has to be done by July 20th.
Travis, I'll give you 3 minutes.
Thank you. I will say that when we first talked about this, I'm on township, so I'm on both sides of it also. He did come to us to raise a mill levy every year. So if we do that in 5 years, we're gonna be double. Is what your first initial thing was.
Well, that was an initial thing, but
Yeah, initial thing.
try to give ideas.
I know, give ideas, that was a good idea.
Yeah.
So if we wanna, our township contract that we're putting out there, double it for next year. We're gonna have to rewrite that contract with our townships, because that was not the agreement that we made that night. It was a verbal agreement, I get that, you guys didn't vote on it. But we didn't verbally vote that it was gonna be a 5-year at double either. So that was gonna have to come back on our end of it and go back. I mean, if you wanna go for our budget next year and say that we're gonna double it for just next year. I mean, why don't we go back and renegotiate?
And that's up to the council. I mean, I'm just
I
saying.
know it's up to the council. It's a thought that I had. I mean, we came to you for 5 years and said, we're gonna double it for 5 years. Everybody was in agreement with it. Now you wanna go back year to year. Well, what if we don't agree to that? As a township? Or fire
It
district?
needs to be, it does need to be looked at every year, it really does.
So I mean, we can look at it every year. So let's look at it every year. Let's agree to 5 years.
I'm not-
Let's look at it every year. No, if we
We
agree,
can't lock everybody down in town for 5 years, Travis, I mean, we just can't. We
I
can't.
understand that, but if you wanna do that, we're not, I'm speaking out of turn right here.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have to go back to your townships and
Well,
renegotiate what was verbally
We
agreed.
might have to.
So it was all verbally agreed that night.
I was not in agreement.
You were not, I understand you were not, the rest of them were.
Okay.
Everybody was good, and the townships at that point thought that we were good. And now we're coming back and we're gonna
I
renegotiate.
think it needs to be a 1 year, year to year.
Then I guarantee it's not gonna be double next year.
Well, I mean, if we have to, we have to, but we have to do a 1 year
So
contract.
do you want,
I think that's my
do
opinion.
you guys want
You
your
can't
money double for the
stretch
next
this
5
out.
years for what it was first predicted? As raised in the middle every year, in 5 years, we're gonna be at double, for the next 5 years, you're gonna get double the money. For that 5 years.
But we're locked into that too. So I'm not for doing that to the city taxpayer. I'm just not for 5 years. It's not enough. I'm not voting for that.
We haven't done anything for 4.
I know, so why go
But
5?
no, the thing was, we all, except for you, everybody here agreed that they were gonna go with the 5-year and double it. That was the agreement.
Well, if you guys.
So, no,
vote for it, then
no, hold
got
on,
3
hold on.
votes, vote for it.
You-
It'll pass.
When you make a consensus like that, and that's what they use to go to their people,
Okay,
then as far as I'm concerned, that's part of us. We probably didn't do it right. We probably should have laid off of it and had another meeting and thought about it and all that other stuff. But guess what? We didn't do that.
and we did.
So we put it out there. They went with that to their people to get the money changed. So then what's to make them think that next time they come in here, we're gonna change our mind again?
Well, the contract, I mean, that's how it kind of works though. I mean, stuff goes up.
Well, this is,
There's a
what
lot.
gets me is it's set on for 40 years.
And why didn't know about it till
The city had the ability to change it every year.
yeah, it was in there for every year.
Exactly.
How long have you been on top, the city council, Tyler?
Hmm. I don't know, this is my 3rd term starting, so I didn't know anything about it until you guys.
We didn't,
I honestly did, so
so,
I had no clue.
So somehow we managed to get through
I
that.
never knew anything.
I just have a problem with the fact that we, even if it was a consensus thing, I'm so on board with that. And I understand, it makes perfect logic to me that we should be looking at it on a yearly basis. I agree with all that. But once we put that out there and they went back to the townships or whatever, from the fire districts to talk about that and get an agreement on it, then I think we should stick with our gun.
And Councilman Bishop, my position is the taxpayers are aware of the deficit. And for us to do 5 years is a continuation, I believe, of what we've been doing for 40 years. And again, I see it as a recant on that decision-making process. And my sway was thinking in terms of the taxpayer. So we're going to make changes 5 years from now. So that's 45 years versus 40 years.
But it's not.
not necessarily, when we're done with it, we're making a change, it's not gonna be 45 years. I mean, we're just doing it for 5 years and renegotiate.
Understand?
I might not be on the township in 5 years, you guys might not be on the city council in 5 years. I mean, this is something that the fire department, we are all here to protect and serve the community. That's what we do, we maintain our trucks, unless it's the city trucks, then we do the best that we can to fix them in-house.
Yeah.
But we do maintain everything else, and the trucks are forestry trucks that we use when we break, that comes out of our money. So we fix it out of our budget, not necessarily the city's budget. Man, we spend the hours down there every maintenance night to maintain these trucks also.
I get that, yet I see a distinct difference between all of that and managing the taxpayer investment for the fire protection.
Okay, managing that, and so if we need to start sending our trucks to get maintained somewhere else, that's gonna cost more money for the city. Right?
I would think so, yeah.
I mean,
It
but
would.
so-
So then,
So it's gonna, yes, technically
Prices
cost
will
more
probably
money for
go
the
up.
township. But you got a group of guys that are down here taking
and I
care
have
of that
not,
stuff.
I have nothing against
I get-
anybody, I'm
I
trying to
get-
get more money for the fire department, so it is better.
I see that.
That's what I'm going
Well,
for,
we
so,
need, we gotta take some steps here, that's what we keep talking about.
and
Take the
it's a
steps.
great first step, it really is, I don't think you lock the town down for 5 years, I think it is great.
So then, like I said.
A yearly annual
You
contract.
guys verbally agreed, you took it back to us, and that's gonna be in our budget. So if we do that contract, you guys are locking us in now at double our rate for 1 year. That's what you're gonna do.
That would be,
That was not the agreement the night that we were here.
We
So
have to
at
wait
that-
and see how your budget hearings go
Yes.
before we can
So
even get
even
into
at
the
that, so
contract.
if it does come through though, and our budget hearing comes through and we double it. You guys are gonna try to lock us in for that 1 year at double, right? And we agreed for 5 years.
We have not voted on anything.
I know, but if you do, if you get to that point and we bring it back to you and it's an agreement, you're gonna try to lock us in for 1 year. That's what I'm understanding.
I don't believe that we voted on anything, so.
Well, you haven't voted on anything
So I
yet, but
feel
no,
like I
so,
can't speak to that.
so
With
make it,
certainty.
makes sense to me that if we came here as a town, no fire districts, and we said we were gonna double it. For 5 years, that was our agreement, we're going back to our budget hearing, and if we put that in our budget, then we're gonna double it. And you guys come back and you lock it in for 1 year. I mean, so what are we supposed to go back again after everybody was in agreement on our 5 year plan? I mean, dumb it down for me, that's the way that I'm looking at it.
And I understand what you're saying. I don't feel like we can say one way or the other because we have to see how your budget hearing goes. We have to be in agreement with, our attorney's got to write up a contract.
So we
We have
get
to be in agreement with the contract with you guys, with fire department one.
So we might just have to renegotiate this after our budget hearing, and we can renegotiate it after that.
I would think so, Alan, am I wrong? Like, we haven't agreed to anything. I mean, we presented something like that we would like, but.
After their budget hearing, after the R&R hearing, they'll have their amount of money in place for next year. Or in place.
So they have amount of taxable money in place, correct? So let's say they go up to 2 mils, they'll be bringing in 2
Well,
mils.
it won't be, yeah, instead of
Just
instead of
hypothetically.
22.5, it's 45,000
Okay.
between the two districts.
So they're bringing in 45, but if they renegotiate for 30, they keep the other 15 because they're their own government entity, right? I mean, if they renegotiate for less.
If they want less, then the council has the right to, so you're saying instead of 12, 5, and 10, they have two districts. They each want to go in as, and so you said 1 to 20 and. I don't know, about 25, let me get right here, my mind here, 20 and 25, they want to go less. I think that the council will say, no, you're the same boat there, say, you said double, we're not gonna do that. You can you have a 40-year contract, you have a contract, an annual contract now, they have the right to continue. You would just continue that, they didn't decide there. I don't anticipate, I think you're in for next year, and the following years, you guys can discuss that, I won't be around. My concern, even though there's legal precedence, the city attorney said that we can do some multi-year for fire. I'm, as you've heard me say more than once, one governing body should ever obligate a future governing body. There's a fire district, and I agree with Paul, I have no issues with that. But the point is the city was never obligated. That council back in 1986 did not obligate any council between then and now.
They do anybody favors either.
Huh?
They do anybody favors.
No, those in between were the problems.
So
And again, I blame,
my question is I'm trying to help them. So if they go and they have their arm up, and they don't,
yeah,
okay? He's asking if we rescind the offer, we renegotiate. My question is we can't renegotiate for more than double because they won't have more than double, right? That's what
Next year's locked in.
Right, but in the future, right?
Money's locked in, but not right.
But if they try to negotiate for less than double, they can do that, and then whatever's extra, they just keep. Right, the fire district has.
Yeah,
surplus.
that's it.
But
They'll have,
that's for them, so they can go back and they can do an R&R for double, and then they can come back and renegotiate if they want it.
and if they do, you drop the contract and they do look elsewhere and they can't get it, that's to decide how they handle their money.
Right.
We can't decide that.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, is they can still go do an R&R for double. And if they want to renegotiate, they can after that, it doesn't change. Right, because if we.
They're separate, they're actually separate topics.
Right, well,
Because taxing ability and the contract.
right, that's what I'm saying. Is they're gonna go do their taxing thing, and they're gonna say, let's double the amount of tax. So now they can't exceed that amount when they renegotiate, because that's the maximum amount that they're taxing.
Right.
But they could renegotiate for less than that, if they want, they could try to.
It's always been there. I mean,
Yeah.
none has changed. You know, all the information you got tonight, I mean, I gave you the same information 2 months ago. I don't think we've had anything, we explained it better probably because. You know, as we get into it, we answer the question specifically. But the data you got now is the same data you had and everything else, but maybe not in this pretty form here and maybe it's easy, but the numbers have always been there. So, you know.
So,
But then, okay, so a couple of the fire districts, I'm pretty sure, Travis, that you said at that last meeting we're at, that you would go elsewhere, your township would go elsewhere, the fire.
It was not a threat.
No, but I'm just saying,
Somebody took this.
I'm saying, but other fire districts have also said, I've heard from other people, we'll just go elsewhere. So then what happens to the budget? If we don't have double, then what happens to the budget if they go elsewhere to other
And
departments?
we lose them? Well, first of all, you cut your expenses because we would cut insurance all those trucks. You would change your work comp expenses, you would change your fuel expenses. All those things are gonna change. And even though I know the fuel thing, and I would say this around the office, is like, it's obvious that to fight a fire at your house versus a house 10 miles that way, the fuel costs are different. We all know that makes sense. Because they drive 3 blocks to your whatever is your house, or less than a half mile, they have a house in town, a mile, there's a house in town. Whereas the majority out there are just not, we don't get that, you know. Those are obvious things there. The number of trucks you take to a real fire is different than a town fire. The number, so we have give them miles a little bit, and again, those are just the costs that have always been there. You know, bottom line is if the city lost that amount, you would cut your expense, but more than that. Now, that doesn't mean you don't get caught up on all the other things like gear, bunker and everything else. But that's up to the council side.
yeah,
You know, and then you see my comparison with other townships. You know, when you have townships in this county, or one fire district that is well over, it's crowded almost 8 mills, some 5 mills over there. When you got townships that do not have a fire district, one township in this county is paying in excess of 8 mills to the city of Holyrood.
Where's that?
Pulaski.
Pulaski, what's in Pulaski Township?
But they have evaluation of, you know,
Gas plant?
yeah, no, gas plant's in Greenyard.
Okay, but they got a little money down there too?
No,
Oh, they don't have anything?
their valuation is as low as, is about the same as some of the poor. Because town, Ellsworth one is, you know, $6 million value, $6.6 million valuation, give or take, on their exact number. Yeah, it's a $2.5 million valuation, which is not a whole lot different than Lincoln and those over there, not a whole lot different. So they're not paying anything, you know, those two towns go there 7 mills, or fire district over there 7 mills, 5. I mean, we've had all those numbers shown before.
So
We
we
also
have,
have mutual aid agreements,
yeah,
right?
we have
So-
a rural fire. A rural fire that's on the external
Yeah.
perimeter of Ellsworth. And it comes into Ellsworth, who you gonna require or want to come protect that? Because you're not gonna have, the city fire department's not gonna have the tools to do that if you get rid of all the rules. you're not gonna be able, you can't fight fire in an inch, a grass fire with an inch of
Right, but there would be, and then again, for the council to decide, but there would be, you know. If that district's not fighting at all, then you have a problem, if people out there are willing to risk. All the perimeter around town, I mean, and they won't, I mean, that, you know. But again, it goes back to the, well, at one meeting, I made a comment, when you have two businesses. Less than 1,000 feet apart, but closer to that. One's paying a $200 a year for fire protection, one's paying $700-800. And they're this far apart, they're about the same value.
So
Likewise, the houses in town, house east of town on JJ is paying. Right now, 1.3 mils go to 2.6, and in town, they're paying.
So-
7.5 mils.
I think we're kind of back in the meetings again.
Right.
I
I'm
think,
up over my 3
yeah,
minutes, so.
so, yeah, I
Thank
think
you.
2 questions, how much, how do we get there?
Yeah.
If they improve that, when do we look at signing a contract?
I think they'll probably have to hearing somewhat in late. I don't know what the hearing was said.
Thank you.
You know what your hearing is, a budget, Travis? You know what your budget hearing said?
21st, August.
August, we could do the first meeting in September. Yeah,
So I guess it'll be on the agenda for first meeting in August.
September.
September, yeah, you said
Yeah.
September.
That's still weird.
Okay, move on.
Push it back.
Let's move on. Discussion of city code regarding weeds.
We had a discussion last time, Madam Mayor. Bottom line is the ordinance as it's written today that I give you to the effect says. Owners maintain to the center of the street, center of the alley, the property. If we want to change that, we can change the ordinance. There's the idea a couple of years ago. And I mentioned all the reasons last time, it didn't happen. And there's all the reasons why, but it didn't happen. So if you want to change it, we'll write a new ordinance, we're gonna leave it the same. And as the city attorney said last meeting, that doesn't mean the city can't do some other work out there in the streets, stuff like that. And again, a lot of this stuff has been out there, like, we can go back to the fire and stuff. It's as we worry about mill levy to people and what we have to do on taxes, it all falls in place. You want more, the taxpayers gotta pay more. There's no magic there. So if you want to change it, we can. If we do say this is the ordinance, we're gonna keep it, we'll need to do some PR, no doubt about it, because there's people who believe that it went that way. It never officially did. In my mind, it never did. And we missed all three last time, so if you want to change it, write an ordinance. Leave it alone and do some PR.
Think, let them know, I mean, I didn't realize how it was either, maybe tell them.
No, because you thought it was, I'm not gonna argue that. I am not gonna argue that.
Yeah. I would just let people know that that's kind of how it is,
Then it's their responsibility to.
yeah,
I'm good with that.
just leave it, we don't have to make a mess with it, right?
Yeah. I'm good with that. Everybody happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay. How can we help you with PR efforts? Like, will you make a Facebook post that we can share?
We'll work on that. No, city clerk will work on that with the department. Yeah. So if you're welcome.
Okay, so we don't need to vote or anything, right?
No.
We'll just leave it as is.
Your orders is in place.
All right, let's move on to new business. Grove Ellsworth County funding request for 2027.
Madam Mayor, real quickly, as you know, there was an amendment made, initially they were gonna ask for an increase. I said that to the back of the, justice noted that, they're gonna ask for the same number. As they do the last 2 years now.
Great. All right. Well, I'm Justin Winsley. I'm currently the president of Rural Ellsworth County. And thanks for giving us the opportunity to come tonight. You guys received a packet, that I'll just talk about a little bit. If you have in front of you, the third page kind of is what I've been focused a little bit on. We kind of outlines a little bit of kind of what our staff has done over the last year, kind of the allocated times, broke down kind of percentages. As you can see, our organization wears a lot of hats. Sometimes we take on more hats too than what we currently have. It just depends on year, month, day, whatever. So, but just to give you a little bit more detail on some of the things that we were involved in last year, you know, we represented Elton County and, you know, regionally and statewide in economic development. We conducted business retention and expansion outreach. We had a lot of different meetings last year with prospective businesses. An estimate's about 20 of them. Obviously, they all have not come to fruition yet, but those are discussions that were kind of the first point of contact, and they're very time consuming sometimes, depending on what those look like. A lot of times they are first time home or not home buyers, but first time business owners, and so they need some help in figuring out exactly how to do business plans and such like that, so they can go to a financial institution to then procure a loan, and then we automatically provide gap funding occasionally when the financial institution, if they don't have enough credit or whatever to get the necessary amount of capital they need to start their business. So those are some of the main things that we've done. You know, we did file or work on a grant last year for some moderate income housing, some more duplexes up by the current ones that are up by the kind of the hospital area. Unfortunately, we did not get that grant, so probably try again next year, assuming there'll be funds available. We did recruit and help with the Powell development that's out south of town here. That is, you know, brought 8 market rate duplexes to town, and then with potential of more coming down the road. We own, Brownsworth County owns 20 acres out kind of at the corner of 156 and 14. We've had that property for quite a while now, and we wrote another grant, very time consuming grant, recently, and turned it in for hopefully to get funding to be able to get engineering study and all of that, which is pretty expensive, just to see what it's going to take to get utilities and all the things that it's going to take to actually develop that site. So that's another thing that we've worked on this past year. You know, we've met with some different business owners and properties downtown, some that are vacant that we're trying to work on getting some business back into. We applied and received a tourism grant, and we contracted with Marketing Angle out of Salina. They, I think, have completed all the data that they're getting through the entire county. And hopefully we'll have some more information basically later this year, fourth quarter, and have some marketing media available that we can share with communities and businesses and use it in hopefully several different ways. So, you know, we organize and help with Fall Fest. We have a golf tournament coming up. So there's just a lot of things that we're involved with. And you know, a lot of times it's not necessarily public or out in the public. It's a lot of times it's confidential things, especially with businesses. And so sometimes, you know, there's a lot of work being done behind the scenes, but that never gets shared. If a business doesn't actually come to fruition, that doesn't mean that we didn't spend an hour after hour working with them. It just, for whatever reason, didn't end up working. But there was a lot of time involved in getting to that point. So, you know, all that to say is just, you know, we're that resource that a lot of people come to first. And it's imperative in my view that we continue to have the funding from the cities and counties to be able to continue that work. I do have a couple board members that are here with us tonight: Kirk Glazier, Jessica Eagle, and Troy Soka. Would you guys like to share anything else, or?
Brian and.
Brian's here.
Yeah.
He's not here. Yeah, see, Brian. Yeah, Brian's your actual representative.
I will share a couple things. One is that I know there was a little bit of concern with our previous director on a few things. I first want to point out that we shared some of those same concerns that a few of you brought up. The timing was just bad. We were ready to do his annual review, and we actually had sent out the award. We have some of the exact same things to address as that you guys brought up. about office hours and things that we were not happy with, but we didn't really get a chance to even have that review because he gave us his notice before we even got there. So I don't want you to think that some of your views were not taken with, again, because we had some of the same opinions. We definitely had some of those same thoughts. Second thing is, I do want to reiterate what Justin says, many things we do are behind the scenes that we cannot talk about. We sign NDAs sometimes on things we can't talk about. So I think a lot of it, we have to rely on that you give us the trust to do what we do best with your amount of money. Because we're all taxpayers the same way you are, and we try to do what we can with the limited funds we have. After hearing some of the previous discussion tonight, I'm like, I really want to go back and say, we'd be much better off. We had a mill levy than coming to you each year, because if I went back in history and I'm the old guy on the board, we'd have a lot better, more money from you today than we would have. Because it has not kept up with the mill levy. So, and we also, when we look, try not to bring it up, we don't compare ourselves, but we look at ourselves in other counties. Our budget is a lot of times very much smaller than what some of our competitors are, both Russell County and some other places. So, but we also are welcome to ask any questions. I know I'm the older one on the board, been there a long time, but I also understand a lot of how we got to where we were. So if you have questions about your contribution versus other cities, welcome. I can probably answer most of those for you. So anyway, with that being said, we do appreciate you guys really supporting us. And I'll add one other thing too, because I think one of your questions will be, we currently do not have a director, and what will we be doing? And obviously, we have to figure out how to function in the meantime, because it will not, it never is a short progress to find a new director. So we are in negotiation for a little bit with our executive team with an individual in town that we hope maybe could act as interim director on a contract basis, not to cover everything we do, but to cover some of those things. But we're not at liberty tonight to say who that is, and their employers just got to give them permission. Our whole board has to obviously agree to that. So, but we are looking for ways, how do we get by in the meantime until we get something filled? So I don't know if that answers some questions you might have, but.
I have a question for you, and Alan and I had met with Justin before, and so we kind of posed this question to Justin as well. I feel like one thing I hear in the community is, you know, we don't have a chamber anymore, and you absorb the chamber board. So can you just kind of, since this is recorded, speak to like, you're more focused on economic development and not so much chamber kind of things, right? Like.
I would say that's probably true. But really our focus goes to kind of where, I guess, things come up, and that's where we end up moving towards. So, you know, the chambers.
I think
Overall,
one big thing people miss are like those chamber lunches.
Sure.
That's not really something Grow would
Yeah.
do, right?
And those are things again that probably would have been brought up in this review process, and those are some things that we did do in the past, and I think that we would certainly be open to doing them again. I know that downtown is, some of the businesses there have kind of sort of created a little bit of. And we've been invited to go, and a couple of us board members, and so I think we'll get some time to go figure out, get a good game plan, good relationship with them moving forward, and so I'm looking forward to that, and so yeah.
Just when you ask about the chamber, so just to refresh, and I can't put any of them under the bus because I don't think any of those three were on the board when we took the chamber.
Yeah.
But we did not ever agree, we cannot do what the chamber did. So, we took some of their functions, we want to help do some of that, but we cannot, nor do we have the personnel to do what we would like to do on some of that. So we have to, that's always a hot button. It's been a very hot button ever since we did it, because it's like some of the people think, oh, you gotta do, you took on the chamber. We permanently agreed not to do that when we did it. We did try to take some things on, but you also have to realize we represent the whole county. And so we also get criticized, okay, well, with these things in Ellsworth, we didn't do in Wilson, or we don't do in Hollywood, or we don't do it. So we have to be careful a little bit of what we do. What we really like to see is a retail association that maybe we help. And, with their marketing arm where we can get the word out, but they have to take some of their functions because we just don't have the personnel to do all of what the chamber did. I don't know if that answers a little bit about.
Jess, do you have something to add?
Yeah,
Well, go ahead.
Okay. No, so, some of you know me, some of you don't. I'm Jessica Eagle. I own the Canopolis Drive-In and, previous owner of Patty Joe's Coffee House. So, I've got not a lot of experience here in town. I've been here since 2024, but something that I do have experience in is 25 years of business and economic development and helping to produce for communities. And so coming to the town as someone who was a prospective business owner, Grow Ellsworth was vital to me getting to connect and be able to purchase these businesses and to be able to have the opportunity to understand the community and understand the needs of the community. I'm personally also working on reinvigoration with some buildings that are empty right now downtown. I'm not really at liberty to kind of discuss all of that right now, but behind the scenes, I will say that each one of the board members really does work on a lot of things to help bring tourism and businesses and things like that to our community. And so it's, this organization is, I think, vital to continuing to grow essentially Ellsworth and bring people to our communities. It's one of my goals, especially with the drive-in, is to really bring people here and to continue to grow what we have. But yeah, so I just want to speak as somebody who not only is on the board now, but somebody who has utilized the services of how beneficial it actually has been for myself.
Yeah, and my first thing as the, representative from Ellsworth, I would like to apologize. It became very clear to me at our last meeting, I haven't been doing my job of letting you guys know what is going on, especially for the city of Ellsworth. It's been busy at my other place, so I will get better at that, especially with the director. I just wanted to say, when you guys are reviewing and talking about it, if you have any questions, readily available. The previous mayor told me he was gonna put me in a room full of really smart people, and he did. It's overwhelming sometimes, but they're truly amazing. And I can just tell you, and I've been thinking about it, since our last meeting, we'll sit there and deliberate for almost 40 minutes about a $200 check. But the smiles on every single board member's face when we approve some money for a new medical worker to help out with their new house, to come and move to our community, and to help our community. Seeing those smiles is why I joined and why I wanted to be elected and why I continue going every Wednesday I can. So I just want to let you guys know that, and let you guys know I will be more of a permanent fixture at these meetings, just to kind of let you guys know what's going on.
Thank you, Brad.
I think like quarterly updates would be sufficient. We know you've got a lot going on your plate, and so don't feel like you have to come to every meeting.
I'm gonna try to be here at least once a month, guys. So that was my.
Thank you, Brian.
I have one quick question, Madam Mayor. The office, is that ever occupied? I know that when I first moved here, I must have called 5 times, left messages.
Well, our previous director was, remote, and again, like we already talked about, there were some things that he didn't do as well as we would like, and we're going to address those things, in our review process. But right now, there's not gonna be someone in the office, but we're checking, we have access obviously all the email, we're checking all the phone messages, things like that, and if we do contract with someone else to help us out, then we may even have a phone rolling over to someone or a board member too. So eventually, once we get our new director in, then the plan will be that there'll be someone there, overall. But we also don't want somebody sitting there all the time because they need to be out. If we had a bigger budget, then we'd have someone setting the office all the time.
Yeah.
I've had some, I haven't listened to you from the last week. We've had this emails and, just tell Kim, the revenue or the NRP, neighborhood revitalization program, expires this year, and I had worked with the former director a little bit, and it's moving ahead, so they're working on it, I'm feeling good about it, so.
Hopefully we'll have something soon.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate the packet too.
Yeah.
That's really helpful, kind of see what you have. And helps us be able to explain to the community what you do and all the behind the scenes work that you do. It's sort of really important. And thank you for your testimony. I think that'd be great on the Girls Worth Facebook page.
And I think the Mayor and I said this to Ms. Lindsay, is that each kind of development I've worked with numerous of my career are afraid to say what good things they do. And I'll use you, if you're diving, you got the grant, congratulations on that, but I understand that the director of Grow Elsewhere was instrumental in helping you. And again, I think it's like, we're sitting there going like he said, with the grant, we're like, good, cool thing. And I think that's great. So I think, continue from, so tell the folks what you do. And I understand ED, you can't say a whole lot what you're doing. I can get all those things. Trust me, I've been in the middle of the non-disclosure agreements myself, and everybody said, you can't say this. No, I can't. I signed my name to it. But I think, when you have the victory you had there, I think was wonderful for not only you and your and Canopolis and the county, but for the region, so.
Yeah, I think it's big for just all of Central
Right,
Kansas in
right.
general.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, board members. Appreciate you being here. So do we need to vote on anything tonight, or just gonna kind of work that into the
Well,
budget when you work it out?
I had all planned to put it in the same amount anyhow, so.
But I mean, if you guys wanna be,
If we want to give you more, you'll take it.
Yes, please. Very big shoes to fill, so I just want to say that. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Okay, discussion of creating a special sales tax to finance city facility improvements.
And Mayor last council, I made a comment about with working on budget stuff, is that, the city is hit to a point on property taxes that we have to watch. I mean, we understand it the whole bit, but how do you pay for things, i.e. that people are using and other costs? And again, I'm still from the county a little bit, because, last year the sales tax was adopted, was approved by the voters, and it's not been a path there because of the issues they got to go through. But, it's not happening, and they're political hostages right now, probably the best term. But anyhow, it's like, how do you pay for it? So, I mentioned, you want to create a 4% sales tax for a 10-year period, up to a 10-year period, to pay for improvements like the ballpark light, which has been estimated to $300,000 to $500,000, $400,000. Improvements to this building, and then we come up because we've been trying to find money for windows and everything else. Of course, we have a gym here that could be used a lot more by a lot of activities, and with a shortage of gyms in this community for year-round air conditioning, that would help a bunch too. So those are things out there. I did, go through a little sales tax history. The city did renew their debt service sales tax 2 years ago, and it passed by about 3-2 margin. So that continues until 33, no, 35. Yeah, it goes for another 10 years, yeah, so you have that there. The county one, I don't know where it's at right now. I know what happened there was unprecedented in maybe Kansas history, but the county, when they do a special sales tax, county general sales tax is split between the counties and cities by a state statute. There's a state formula there, and I have no now how they were arguing about that. But any sales tax, but they keep a higher percent for a special project, like was put about others, has to be approved by the state legislature, either before or after the vote. Normally, I have never seen one that didn't get snapped done, except this year. State Senate actually voted 30-8 or 31-8 to approve 3 in eastern Kansas and the 3 in western Kansas here, Lincoln and Sheridan. They said no to. Well, the House said, Senate, we're not going to play these kind of games. We're not going to fund them. So all 6 of those counties are in the same boat that Ellsworth is right now. So we got a discussion with the bond council and everything else. So I just want to throw it out there. So the point is, if you want to put a sales tax on the ballot this fall, we have basically to make 2 actions in August. because the county clerk has to be notified by September 1, you have to put certain things in place, it can happen. If you want to, we can move forward with it. I'm mixed on it, I did show you all the different sales tax in the region. Our CID actually dropped off last year, as you know, and our CD was 1%, some CIDs like Salina are 2%. Hayes is 2%, I believe, I mean, they're all different. Information, if you wanna move on, tell me to move forward, and I'll get stuff in place. If you say, no, it's not a good time, that's cool. Show you possibilities.
But ultimately, the taxpayer would vote to have that or not.
Any local sales tax in the state of Kansas is approved by the local taxpayers, every single one. The only sales tax that voters don't get to vote for is state sales taxes that are voted on by your legislatures. Every sales tax in Kansas, so when somebody comes to me and says, the local sales tax is too high, and I says, no, the voters approved it. They approved it. So all local sales taxes are approved by the people. Again, there's no other way. I mean, they have to be on ballot and a referendum from all, and that's great, it's cool and everything else. The county's in a weird spot, and I feel for them big time, because I've never seen it happen before. It's one of those things. It's stupid, but it's the way laws are written, I'm not gonna argue that.
So Madam Mayor, can I move that we move forward with that and let the taxpayer?
Let's say, Alan, go ahead and get the documents for us to look at to make the motion with the proper resolutions.
So I didn't see Ellsworth on the list, just to make sure I'm doing the math right. We're currently at 8.75.
Right.
Okay.
I thought I read that to the horse, did I?
The parts are in there, you just have to do the math, and I just want to make sure I'm
Sorry.
not missing something.
Yeah.
But
We're just the city, state 6.5.
Yeah.
The city has 1% general, the county has 1% general, which again, as I mentioned in our letter, is shared. County 1%, there's a state formula on there based on population, half population, half as water and property taxes. And then the county has 1%, and the county also has to, the city has to 1/4% sales tax for debt service that was renewed by voters 2 years ago. And then, of course, the county one's in limbo right now.
So just for voter education, what's the debt service tax do?
It covers some of the debt the city had. The city had one, and then they renewed it 2 years ago in the 2024 election. It pays off debt that we had. General obligation debt, not special debt like sewer and stuff like that. Those are it's a different game also. Yeah. And I think I said this, a quarter sales tax is about 100, how much did I say? I have to do somewhere. About $120,000. So not a big amount, but it's 4%, And again, so if the county gets moved forward, then you add this, you'll go to 9.25. If the county adds, you just go to 9. If we add the county that can't move forward, that's 9. So you're talking about 9.25. And again, I think the 9.25, yes. And again, I've done this for years. Everybody says, well, how about other communities? That's an appropriate number. Again, it's the voters' choice. The voters chose on the county special tax. Unfortunately, people with pay grade different than us didn't approve it.
Would that look into it?
I can get some put together and we'll bring resolutions.
Yeah.
Cool. Sounds good. I'll do that.
Okay, AV 2027-13, Kansas Airport Improvement Program agreements.
Madam Mayor, last spring, the city council approved to apply for a grant for additional funding to do some more at the airport. As you know, last spring, it was approved by the KDOT. We noticed it back in April, I believe. We finally got the documents 2 weeks ago. And of course, this is that add alternate to the airport project. You need a motion to, if you want to approve the grant.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the agreement for the project number AV 2027 13 Kansas Airport Improvement Project known as KAIP with the Secretary of Transportation, the Kansas Department of Transportation, KDOT, and the city of Ellsworth.
I second that.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Moon, second by Councilmember Bishop to approve the agreement for project number AV 2027 13. Kansas Airport Improvement Project with the Secretary of Transportation, KDOT, and the city of Ellsworth. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Pass.
We'll have an item later in the agenda. On the airport thing, so. Thank you. What do you think?
Okay. Resolution 2026-14, authorizing me to sign documents related to the purchase of property for the Sewer Lagoon project.
Madam Mayor and Council, of course, the council approved the purchase of land in June, however, as we move towards closing. Mr. Pearson reached out to me and that the title company is requiring a resolution giving the mayor authority, it's so stupid, but she has an account, but give her, that you're approving her authority to sign the documents to purchase the land.
Madam Mayor,
Resolution there said that.
Madam Mayor, I move to adopt resolution 2026-14. Authorizing the mayor to sign documents relating to the purchase of property for the Sewer Lagoon project.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Bernard, second by Councilmember Moon to adopt resolution 2026-14, authorizing the mayor to sign documents relating to the purchase of property for the Sewer Lagoon project. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Okay. Ordinance 3187, adoption of the 2026 standard traffic ordinance for Kansas cities.
Madam Mayor, this is an annual, each year the Kansas League of Municipalities puts out this manual of basically changes in the state laws for both the traffic ordinance and also for the next year for the what they call Uniform Public Defense Code. So most cities adopt the league thing. It's in a nice little book that way. You just say the league, your work is good, we love it. It follows all the laws, but to enforce those in the community, you have to adopt this. So you do it every year. Some cities don't renew their STO every year. I'm a believer just do it every year. That way you don't get 4 years behind.
Madam Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance 3174 for enforcement of current standard traffic ordinances.
Second that.
Been moved by Council President Hanson, second by Councilmember Bishop to adopt ordinance 3174 for enforcement of current standard traffic ordinances. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Okay. Ordinance 3188, adoption of 2026 Uniform Public Offense Code.
Madam Mayor, same thing, except on this one, we do have, if you look at on page 75, Article 10, the city has an exception, they put it, they're allowed to do it, you're allowed to amend the state code and add to it, so this has to do with some air rifle, air gun for basically demonstration activities and education activities, so this, again, this is the same thing, it was stopped with the last, I don't know how many years.
Madam Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance 3175 for the enforcement of the updated uniform code.
It's ordinance 3188 and it's ordinance 31, which one is it?
It says 88 and 75.
88.
So is the other one we just voted on right then? Because we voted on 74.
7 is the standard traffic ordinance.
Somebody made an error, didn't post you. Is, thank you.
So it just wasn't updated at the bottom, basically.
Somebody made an error and he didn't post it.
Well, that's fine.
Okay.
Time to dock your pay.
So I didn't need to reread it.
Yeah, you should.
Ordinance 3188.
Okay. Madam Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance 3188 for enforcement of the updated uniform code of public defense.
I'll second.
Been moved by Councilmember Moon, second by Council President Hanson to adopt ordinance 3188 for enforcement of the updated Uniform Code of Public Offense. What are you confused by? We can have a little discussion.
No, it's fine. I just was the numbers, but it's fine.
Any discussion? I'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Okay, award of bid for the construction of an additional west connector taxi lane at the Ellsworth Airport.
Mayor, and council members discussed this last meeting with the base bid. Now you got the funding in place, the grand share at least. This is part of the bid that was submitted by, that the bid opening was at the end of June. And you got the letter there from Mr. Waller about the bids and everything else, and recommendation to accept the alternate bid of 458, $551,548.36. Bringing the total cost of the project to $825,483.62. And you've seen all the documents in the past about funding and everything else, so.
Okay.
We formally couldn't act on the ad alternate last meeting because you didn't have all your finances in place, which you now.
Madam Mayor, I move to accept the bid in the amount of $151,548.36 from Voight's Parga Construction LLC of Mountain Ridge, Kansas, for the construction of an additional west connector taxi lane at the Ellsworth Airport. This project is known as KAIP, project number AV-2027-13.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Renard, second by Councilmember Allen to accept the bid in the amount of $151,548.36 from, how do you say that? Votes? Is that what it is?
Voight's Parga.
Voight's Parga Construction LLC of Mountain Ridge, Kansas for the construction of an additional west connector taxi lane at the Ellsworth Airport. This project is also known as KAIP, project number AV 2027-13. Any discussion? Right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. A discussion of the 2027 budget.
Madam Mayor, we're all discussion tonight, and we know we got, for the next meeting, you got your mill levy locked in, then we're gonna stay with the R&R. 70 whatever, that's 77 mills. And again, the reason why I recommend to stay with the R&R was one, we pushed on the sewer rates and we had a complaint today about the sewer rates, and I was gonna tell that one my report. And then secondly, the city's gonna have about $100,000 extra available there, just like one of the other taxing entities, because of the end of the TIF district. So it gives us some room to work, gives some room to breathe and grow and develop some new district, so. I say let's just move on next page, 'cause I think you're all worn out.
Sorry, you use that. Okay. So tell us how you want to do these bank signers.
Madam Mayor, we have to change the Orthodox signature for the most part, because somebody decided to get married and somebody decided to change your last name, and we're just doing this. I still believe everyone needs to be done separately. I like it that way. It's their own Alanism, maybe I don't know if you'd have to, but do one at a time. If you like the city clerk, have the same person make the motion, the same person make the second. If you don't like the city clerk, mix it up so she has to keep track. That's totally up to you.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll start. I move to, Madam Mayor, I'm sorry. I move to approve resolution 2026-15, updating authorized signers for the account.
I'll second.
Been moved by Council President Hanson, second by Councilmember Moon to approve resolution 2026-15, updating authorized signers for the account. Do we need to say what account or just whatever?
It's actually
You'll know.
citizens banking.
Okay.
It's the one that's written, it's attached to the ordinance.
Gotcha. So you'll know. Okay, perfect. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve resolution 2026-16, updating authorized signers for the account.
Also citizens.
Are they all at Citizens? Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Looks like it.
Okay, it's been moved by Council President Hansen, second by Councilmember Moon to approve resolution 2026-16, updating authorized signers for the account. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve resolution 2026-17, updating authorized signers for the account as citizen staff.
I'll second.
Been moved by Council President Hansen, second by Councilmember Moon to approve resolution 2026-17, updating authorized signers for the account at CSB&T. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve resolution 2026-18, updating authorized signers for the account at Citizen State Bank.
I'll second.
Been moved by Council President Hansen, second by Councilmember Moon to approve resolution 2026-18, updating authorized signers for the account at CSB&T. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve resolution 2026-19, updating authorized signers for the account at Citizen State Bank.
Madam Mayor, I second.
It's been moved by Council President Hansen, second by Councilmember Moon to approve resolution 2026-19, updating authorized signers for the account at CSB&T. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve resolution 2026-20, updating authorized signers for the account at Citizen State Bank.
I'll second.
Been moved by Council President Hansen, second by Councilmember Moon to approve resolution 2026-20, updating authorized signers for the account at CSB&T. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve resolution 2026-21, updating authorized signers for the account.
I'll second.
Been moved by Council President Hansen, second by Councilmember Moon to approve resolution 2026-21, updating authorized signers for the account at CSB&T. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
As opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Last one.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve resolution 2026-22, updating authorized signers for the account at Citizen State Bank.
Madam Mayor, I'll second.
Been moved by Council President Hansen, second by Councilmember Moon to approve resolution 2026-2022. 22, good grief. Updating authorized signers for the account at CSB&T. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Great job. Okay, let's set some dates or a date for interviews for the city administrator.
Madam Mayor, the interviews are set for 5:30 on August the 5th. Basically, we need to hold a special meeting, so, and basically, especially if we know more, and you'll open the meeting, you'll try to go to executive session. At the end, you'll come out of the session, close the meeting, and no actions will be taken that night. Again, I don't have formally, but I always like doing these because that way you're telling the public when they see you come in, everyone like, the city didn't tell. Yeah, so, motion of council, so.
You got that one?
Madam Mayor, I move to hold a special city council meeting on August 5th, 2026, at 5:30 PM for interviews for the city administration position.
Second. Go ahead, Steve.
It's been moved by Councilmember Allen, second by Councilmember Bishop to hold a special city council meeting on August 5th, 2026 at 5:30 PM for interviews for the city administrator position. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Okay, let's move on to department heads. Who still got back there? Ronnie, I see you first.
I don't have anything.
Okay, Ralph, you were about to get up. Tell us what you got.
All right, just a minor thing real quick, just to keep it in front of everybody. The training facility that we've been fundraising on is completed and built, and it is now setting out at part of setting out at Myco. I know, Alan's been working on trying to make contact with the landowner, and there seems to be some issues, possibly health issues or what we don't know. It's just, as soon as we can get that wrapped up, then that is ready to be put in. And the reason that I kind of want to keep that at the forefront is we had a fire chiefs meeting, last week, and ISO was in Rice County. And I'd really like to have that thing in place when they show up, because when we get an ISO inspection, the energy on the fire department is 50%. The water capability is 40%. Communications is another 10%, and I think there's a couple of variables that's in there, but they really like training facilities. And so we've been working on it. We have fundraised and spent and fundraised nearly 100,000. It's gotten paid for it. It's a little bit left to pay on it, but it's done. I just need the place to put it up. And Alan's been working on that. I just want to keep it in front of you. I'd really like to have that up because one of these days I'm gonna get the call and they only give us about 2 week notice. So other than that, unless somebody's got a question.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Going back to the township situation, if the city of Ellsworth does not have an agreement with the township, is it still your decision on whether or not to take your resources and assist another township? And that
So we have, there are mutual aid contracts that are signed. And there's also just a common courtesy that is there that if somebody's in need, we're gonna go. I mean, I would bluntly say this, that the day shows up that somebody says, that somebody has a need and we have capabilities to do that, and we don't do anything, that is a dark day. So,
Yeah.
So.
At the end of Travis's, at the end of Travis's, report, he mentioned a scenario on what would happen if, and so that's why the question came to mind.
So one of the things that does need to be kept into consideration is sometimes, in this whole conglomeration of things, and he did make the great point, is structural engines are not how you fight any kind of a grass. One of the things that's beginning to be a big concern in fire service, and even we see it even in the local stuff, is what's called the rural urban interface.
Okay.
So you can have, even on some of the wildfires that came in, that run in, if all you have is, matter of fact, and I just recently became aware of the fact that even Salina is having this discussion about equipping them, because you're starting to have on the fringes, and if you get grass fires and you get brush fires, engines are not how you fight that, because engines are not mobile, that they don't, what we call, it's called pump and roll capability. Engines have to have that built into that. Structural engines that cities normally have do not have that capability. And so you see some of this stuff on some of the cities where you see these, all my pages going off, got one more to go. Where they literally pull hose and then fight out to whenever they've got enough hose that it's like a freaking 250 to 400 foot, depending on what you've done. Throw hose back on the truck, move down 300 or 400, that'll kill you. Literally, guys die doing that.
Yes.
And so the ability to have equipment that is like, wow, man, is what we call pump and roll, where we have the ability to pump and roll and to fight that. Yes, you can have engines that are that way. Yes, we have. One of our engines was built that way. But then, so there's a pretty big difference between how you have range line equipment and how you have structure equipment, and those are gonna overlap. You're gonna have those that overlap sometimes in the city environment. We did not go on a mutual aid, but with Lincoln, earlier this spring, they got a call for a structure fire, in the wind, and by the time it was all done, they had lost, 10 vehicles and 6 structures. Because it was just pushing it. So you have part of that gets into that. So maybe that answers your question a little bit.
Okay.
Every city department I've worked with has had a brush truck or two. So we did, we had one in Judge City. Again, there was a road department on the front side of town, but we had a truck. And again, if something happens, that's a discussion, everybody would have with the chief.
Yeah. And something else that gets into that equation is, there, and the city, matter of fact, and I visited with the water department. When people look around, you're seeing some of the hydrants that get painted, and people are like, what's that mean? That's important to me. What that means is NFP has got a color code, and every color is telling us the capability of that hydrant. I like to see greens and blues. Greens is 1,000 or better. We hit blue, we're over 1,500. But there are a lot of them in town that is red, that's 500 or below. And and it's happened in my neighborhood, and there's been talk about completing the loop and all that, but I absolutely guarantee you that there are places in this town that if we get a structure fire, I'm requesting tankers on that page because the water is not there. We'll pop the name just like that, there's nothing there. It can run a house, but when I'm talking fire flows of at a minimum 500 up over 1,000 gallons a minute, it's not there. So we're going to take tankers even in a town fire in some situations. So when we improve the loops and whatnot around town, so when you see a hydrant that's like green, that's pretty good. When it's blue, that's awesome. That means we can tap into that and we can pump. But you see a lot of stuff that's out on the fringes that's red. It's 500 or less, and I know that there's some that, they can't even fill our LVHOs. And so depending on where that's at, it's like, I want my engines and I want tankers now, because the water's not there, even though it's within town.
More questions for Ralph?
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
All right, thank you.
Dave, I think you're up next.
As of tomorrow, we're gonna start working on basically getting it cleaned up. They have several trucks that are trying to come in and help them pull out the sludge, so we can wash it down, clean it. I know I've been working late hours to make sure that we have enough water so that we don't run out of it then, you know, during the middle of the day or whatever, so, just FYI, try to hold your water consumption, tomorrow. So we can make sure we get it done and not have any problems. So.
Thanks for all your extra hours.
Yep.
Don't go away. I've got a question.
Okay.
So maybe Ronnie can chime in too. So I'm gonna put on my Kiwanis hat.
Okay.
So splash pad update. I know at one point they said like water department needed to check like, was it water pressure out there or something? So can you just tell me where we rank on your priority list for that?
It's a smile. That's a smile.
Are we
I,
able to open up the splash pad in this decade?
At this time, hopefully not, because it's got a lot of bad issues.
A lot of bad what?
Issues.
Issues, I thought you said
Piping,
issues, sorry.
There's equipment, I mean, it's just, you probably know more about it than I do, because.
I think they're still trying and working on, I think bottom line is that's one of those things that, if you have a sales tax, you know, take care of something community. I don't know the history, and I can, these to be, think of what'll happen, but you know.
Well, in the past, we got.
I can tell you that, and I've mentioned this to you too, that, you know, I have talked to a person that builds splash pads, and I have been in touch with him. And his first thing was to pressure check these water features. And so we're just kind of waiting on that, and they can get that report back to him. He's more than willing to come out here to look at what we got, but until, you know, we do that, and, just kind of find the waiting game. And I know I ordered a new control device that the Kiwanis paid for. It's the same kind of control I have at the pool. Shouldn't be any issues with finding parts for that, because that was our problem with the raindrop system that was up there. They couldn't find parts for it. So, we're trying. So.
Is that control, is that in already?
I don't think so.
But it won't do any good if we don't do our pressure check. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if it is or not,
Yeah.
you know,
I know they picked it
I
up.
know Leo does a lot of this. But I do know that, you know, we've had several other issues that pop up, and that's not a priority, because,
I was just asked to ask you at
yeah,
where on the priority list the splash pad lies.
yeah.
Pretty low. Okay.
You know, water leaks,
Yeah.
people getting water,
Very good.
you know.
All right. Well, thank you.
Try to do our best.
Yeah, we appreciate all you do. Hey, Mr. Casper.
Madam Mayor, I don't have anything to report, but I will request at the end of the meeting, no action will be taken, but if you could have a 5-minute executive session for attorney-client privilege to go over a potential issue that the police department may be aware of. No action will have to be taken. Like I said, I just want to briefly discuss it with you.
No, you know the statute difference?
I mean, a wild card here on that, for attorney-client privilege.
Yeah. Get it.
I'll have it by the time you make. the
Thank you.
Mrs. Ranker, that's fun to say.
It's fun to hear. Our Kansas Department of Labor inspection went well. We have some minor things to clear up. No. There are no fines with this inspection. We have 60 days to make some changes. Everyone's talking about the sales tax, so I will just tell you, we didn't find anything necessarily at City Hall except for 14 gas leaks in the boiler room. So we want to be on the list. So, but they're taken care of.
Gas
Nothing
leaks and
major.
windows.
I will send, if council so chooses, I can send you pictures of the condition of some of the windows at City Hall.
Can I put on agendas for that?
Yeah, that way we can know what some of that
When
tax money would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, going towards. Okay, Mr. Depot.
I have a few things, we talk about budgets, we talk about survey, and everything else, and somebody made a comment. So the city's in dire financial need. No, it's not. Cities have all the money they want. If they move the property taxes. Or do this, do that, raise rates. It's a matter of finding that balance between income and expense. There's no magic formula, 37 years, same for that everywhere else. If public wants certain things, they get certain things. If they want them, but don't raise their property tax, you find other alternative sources. And like we talked about, we'll bring the fire contract, we talked about other sources from raising fees for different things at rec or whatever the case may be. Is that combination. A city of Kansas legally can't go bankrupt because they just raise taxes. Well, and of course, there'll be some limitations. If the state legislature more like next year will do something about it, maybe. They've been talking about it for the last couple of years, and they did. Then at that point, well, the commission will have to do that. Time, the governing bodies will have to say, "Here's not what you're going to get." There's that one movie from the 2016 where the gal wants two guys in order. What don't you want? It's kind of the same thing there. You gotta, and it's a balance thing. The word dire is a bad word because you can approach raise tax whatever you want to. Just take into the will of the taxpayers, and I get that because we all are taxpayers as well. I did get out there because those off last week that the 156 Kunkel project will probably start in the August 20th range. I'll get that date to you. I'll get that out of those. It's going to go pretty quick. Kunkel will never close. The only thing that will close will be the driveway, the east driveway to Casey's. And because they're doing some work in there, so that'll only close in for 4 to 6 weeks. So the project will go quickly to have that done. Again, like I said before, we had one comment about the survey things, which I can't afford anymore. And of course, city treasurer basically said, well, come to the city council to talk about it. But again, we all know why the rates went up because of needs to repair stuff. I'll be going a lot this week because I am going to play grandpa and livestock grandpa because my granddaughter will show the Tri-Rivers Fair. I'm judging the county fair this week, so, but again, anything, you all have my text number, you all have emails to me, I'll check them on the phone, so we're fine with that, so. Other than that, remind everybody in the public that, and again, it has nothing to do with the city, but just be a good citizen, you have a right to vote August 4th. Of course, there's both, there is the political or parties, Democrat, Republican, but there's also a state constitution in there, and again, just like anything else, I can't let it say either way, but I can say be a good citizen and go vote. Don't vote, don't bitch. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, but just you have the opportunity, take it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Great. City Council, Councilmember Allen. Councilmember Moon.
Madam Mayor, I want to thank Mr. Dinkel for the emails and status of the crosswalk and the TNR.
Crosswalk. that grant will not be announced till later this fall.
Okay.
TNR. And how about TNR?
That, that,
Oh,
that
sure,
loser-
release will apply in this fall. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I was thinking of my acronym. Yeah. Yeah, there'll be a grant opportunity this fall again.
Okay, thank you, sir. That's all.
Councilmember Bishop. Council President Hanson. No. Councilmember Renard.
No.
I have a couple things. So I mentioned this at the end after everybody left. Saturday is the airport's pancake feed, fly-in pancake feed, but the public is welcome. We'll start serving at 7 o'clock, free will donation, so come out for pancakes. Pray for cool weather. And then I'm gonna put my extension hat on. We had our county fair last week. And kudos to Ronnie. I thanked him Friday and he said, oh, I didn't do anything, but you guys having AC at the rec was amazing. So Ronnie, thank you for getting those grants. Thank you for all you did to like just keep making our rec the best it can be, because it was fantastic. We got so many compliments just from the public, from judges coming in from out of state, and of course, all of our 4-H families were nice and cool, and I think it kept our emotions a little cool too. So
Thank you.
I appreciated it, yeah. All right, so we ready for an executive session?
Yeah, and I, put together, I apologize for not getting this on the agenda.
No
If you
problem.
want to take a look at this motion real quick, I think that would be appropriate if the council would want to make that.
Yeah, I'm good with it. Basically, I moved to,
Apologize for the writing, whoever can read the worst writing or fighting.
Give it a go.
Okay, what now? What am I
I
doing?
moved to go to executive.
I move to go into executive session for 5 minutes,
For beginning at 7:17 and
beginning at 7:17, ending at 7:22.
For consultation with the city attorney.
Consultation with an, right here,
Yeah.
with an attorney which would be deemed attorney-client privilege regarding potential liability regarding enforcement of city codes as currently enacted.
Authorized by
Authorized by
TSA.
TSA seven,
K.
TSA 75-4319. B2.
Second.
Thank you.
Who would you want in that?
City attorney.
Just myself and council and Mr. Davis.
Yeah.
Councilmember Renard has made a motion to adjourn into executive session. Councilman President Hanson seconded it. We will go into executive session from, sorry, I'm all messed up. 7:17 to 7:22 for attorney-client privilege, to include city council, city administrator and city attorney. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those
Read
opposed?
that, can you read that, the
I'm just like.
potential liability of what?
It's like, can you read my writing now?
Around, we'll see.
Say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say aye.
You know, if you hit those at 95. Oh, dude.
Anything else?
Madam Mayor, I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Been moved by Council President Hanson, second by Councilmember Allen to adjourn tonight's meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Meeting.
Sorry, that was rude. I didn't mean to interrupt, but